Welcome students to our new YouTube channel Pharmatech, the division of excellence. In last video lecture we see the surface tension part 1, and in this video we see the second part of this lecture, that means surface and interfacial tension part 2. Then let's start to this video. When two phases are in contact with each other, the boundary between them is referred as interface. If one of the phase is vapor or gas, the term surface is generally used instead of interface. Then next, adhesional and cohesional forces. Adhesional forces are those forces which act between molecules of different phases, while cohesional forces act between molecules of the same phases. Then cohesional forces tend to keep the phases separate, while adhesional forces tend to increase the affinity of two phases. If adhesional forces are stronger, miscibility takes place. Then next we see the surface tension of some liquids at 20 degrees Celsius. The first substance is mercury. The surface tension in dyne per centimeter is 476 dyne per centimeter for mercury. The second one, the olive oil. The surface tension of olive oil is 35.8 dyne per centimeter. The next, third, water. The surface tension of water is 72.8 dyne per centimeter. The fourth one, the glycerin. The surface tension of glycerin is 63.4 dynes per centimeter. The next is benzene. The surface tension of benzene is 28.9 dyne per centimeter. The next is heptane. The surface tension of heptane is 19.7 dynes per centimeter. The next is chloroform. The surface tension of chloroform is 27.1 dynes per centimeter. Then next we see the determination of surface and interfacial tension. The first method is used is capillary method. This method is suitable for measuring surface tension and not for interfacial tension. Y is equal to 1 half RH rho g is the formula for capillary method, where R is the radius of capillary tube. Then H is the height of liquid column in capillary tube. Then rho is the density of the liquid, and g is the acceleration due to gravity. Then second method is drop count method by using stalagmometer. Y1 upon Y2 is equal to N2 upon N1 into rho 1 upon rho 2 is the formula, where N1 is number of drops of liquid and N2 is number of drops of water. Rho 1 is the density of liquid and rho 2 is the density of water. Then third one is drop weight method using stalagmometer. Y1 upon Y2 is equal to W1 upon W2, where W1 is the weight of one drop of liquid and W2 is the weight of one drop of water. The next, Wilhelmi plate method. The apparatus consists of a thin mica, glass or platinum plates suspended vertically from a beam attached to a torsion balance. It provides a direct measurement of force exerted on the plate at the interface between two immiscible liquids or surface of a liquid. The force exerted is equal to the surface tension multiplied by the perimeter of the plane. Y is equal to WL minus W upon 2 in bracket L plus T, where WL is the reading on balance prior to detachment, W is the weight of the plate in air, L is the length of the plate, and T is the thickness. The next method is Dionoy tensiometer, that means ring detachment method is used. In this, the apparatus works on the principle that the force necessary to detach a platinum or iridium ring from the surface or interface of two immiscible liquids is proportional to the surface or interfacial tension respectively. Y is equal to P plus beta upon divided by 4 pi r, where P is the pull exerted through the torsion wire on the ring and beta is the correction factor. Next, spreading coefficient. When the work of adhesion between the two liquids exceeds the work of cohesion, spreading occurs. Work of cohesion Wc is equal to 2 YL, work of adhesion Wa YL plus Ys minus YLS. The spreading coefficient S is equal to W S minus Wc is equal to Ys minus in bracket YL plus YLS, where Ys is surface tension of the sublayer liquid, YL is the surface tension of spreading liquid, and YLS is the interfacial tension between the two layers. Then spreading occurs when the surface tension of the sublayer is greater than the sum of the surface tension of the spreading liquid and the interfacial tension between the sublayer and the spreading liquid. If S is negative, the spreading liquid forms a globule or a floating lens and spreading does not occur. The next, surfactants, solutes or molecules which are preferentially adsorbed at the surface or interface of liquids reduce the surface or interfacial tension and are therefore termed as surface active agent or surfactant. When a surface active agent is added to water, it gets preferentially adsorbed at the surface with the polar end oriented towards water and non-polar hydrocarbon chain projecting upward into the space. Then next we see the classification of surfactants. The first class is anionic surfactant. Examples are alkali soaps, amine soaps, metallic soaps, alkyl sulfates and phosphates, and last alkyl sulfonates. Then next, cationic surfactant. Example cetrimide, benzalkonium chloride, benzothonium chloride. Then next, third, ampholytic surfactants. Example lecithin, N-dodecyclamine. Then next, fourth, non-ionic surfactant. Examples are glycerol monostearate, that means glycerol monostearate, twin and spans. Then next we see the HLB system. The surfactants HLB value: anti-foaming agent 1 up to 3, W/O emulsifier agent 3 to 8, wetting and spreading agent 7 to 9, O/W emulsifying agent 8 to 16, detergent 13 to 16, and solubilizing agent greater than 16. Then HLB values can be estimated by the following formula. First, HLB is equal to 20 in bracket 1 minus S upon A, where S is the saponification number and A is the acid number. Then next, HLB is equal to E plus P upon 5, where E is equal to percent of W/W oxyethylene chain and P is equal to percent W/W, that means weight by weight polyhydric alcohol. Then third, HLB is equal to summation of hydrophilic group minus summation of lipophilic group plus 7. Then fourth formula is HLB mixture is equal to HLB1 X percent in the mixture plus HLB2 X percent in the mixture, where X is the unknown value. Then next, critical missile concentration, that means CMC. When surfactants are added to water, they first orient themselves at the liquid air interface. As more of the surfactant is added, the molecules adsorbed at the surface gets crowded until they are so tightly packed that any further occupancy at the interface would require compression of the surfactant molecules at the interface. Further increment beyond this concentration causes the molecules to aggregate into micelles. The process begins at a certain characteristics concentration of the surfactants called critical micellar concentration. The next important term is Kraft point. In Kraft point, it is at low temperature the solubility of the surfactant increases slowly with increase in temperature beyond a particular temperature. When enough enough material is present to allow the formation of micelles, the solubility increases rapidly. This is because the micelles are more soluble than the monomer. The point at which this occurs is the Kraft point, and the concentration in solution at this point is the CMC at the Kraft temperature. Then next we see the factors affecting CMC: critical micellar concentration, molecular structure of the surface active agent. In that, the first, the hydrocarbon chain in the hydrophobic group. The first chain length, an increase in the hydrocarbon chain length causes a logarithmic decreases in the CMC at constant temperature. Then next, branch hydrocarbon chains. Branching of hydrocarbon chain causes an increase in CMC because the decrease in free energy caused by aggregation of branch chain molecules is less than obtained in case of linear molecules. Then third one is unsaturation. The CMC is increased 3 to 4 times by the presence of double bond when compared with the value for analog saturated compound. Then next, the hydrophilic group. First, the types of hydrophilic group. If the ionic dissociation is complete, the effect of different ionic groups on CMC is small. That means the number of charges, however, should remain same. And in non-ionics, electrical repulsion between similar charged ions is absent. Hence, aggregation is facilitated and critical micellar concentrations are much lower than those for ionic surface active agents. Then next, number of hydrophilic group. Increase in the number of hydrophilic groups increase the solubility of surface active agents, causing an increase in critical micellar concentration. If the number of ionic group increases, the electrical repulsion increases, causing an increase in CMC. Position of hydrophilic group. The CMC increases as the polar group is moved from the terminal position towards the middle of hydrocarbon chain. Then second, effects of additives. Simple electrolyte, CMC decreases on addition of salts. Then next, other surface active agent. The CMC of mixture of surface active agent vary between the highest and lowest CMC values of the individual components. Then third, alcohols. The CMC decreases on addition of alcohols. Then fourth, hydrocarbon. Solubilization of hydrocarbons by surface active agent at CMC causes increase in the micellar size. Thus, CMC decreases and micellar size is facilitated. Then next, effect of temperature with non-ionic surfactants. An increase in the temperature causes a decrease in the CMC and micellar size is increased. Temperature has comparatively smaller effect on the micellar properties of ionic surfactants. At certain temperature, aqueous solutions of many non-ionic surfactants become turbid. This characteristic temperature is called cloud point. The process is reversible, that means cooling of the solution restores clarity. The turbidity at the cloud point is due to separation of the solution in two phases. Then next we see the application of surfactants. The first application in medical. In medical it is used as an antimicrobial and as expectorant and as cleansing agent. And second one is in pharmaceutical. In pharmaceutical industry it is used as a solubilizing agent, wetting agent, flocculating agent, emulsifying agent and as additive in semi-solid preparations. Then next we see the adsorption phenomenon. Adsorption at solid interface. If a solid comes in contact with a gas or a liquid, there is an accumulation of the gas or the liquid at the interface rather than in the bulk of the solid. This phenomena is known as adsorption. Adsorption within highly porous solid is often termed as sorption. Adsorption at solid or gas interface. Interaction between a solid adsorbent absorbent and unabsorbed gas or vapor molecules may range from weak attraction forces between the two molecules to a strong reaction. The degree of absorption depends on the chemical nature of the adsorbent, the chemical nature of the adsorbate, temperature and the partial pressure of the adsorbed gas. In the case of gas molecules, adsorption or the concentration of solution. In the case of solute molecules, adsorption from its solution. Adsorption is either of two types, physical adsorption and chemical adsorption. Physical adsorption is associated with van der Waals forces and hence it is known as van der Waals adsorption. It is characterized by low heat of adsorption, that means 20 to 40 kilojoule per mole, is non-specific and is reversible. The next, chemical adsorption is due to chemical combination of adsorbate molecules and the surface molecules of the adsorbent, and it involves high heat of adsorption, that means greater than 700 kilojoule per mole, that it is highly specific and often irreversible. The next, desorption. Desorption is the opposite of adsorption and is the removal of the adsorbate from the surface of the adsorbent. Desorption of gas molecules from a solid surface may be undertaken by increasing the surface, increasing the temperature and by reducing the pressure. Again we see desorption. Desorption is the opposite of adsorption and is removal of the adsorbate from the surface of the adsorbent. Desorption of gas molecules from a solid surface may be undertaken by increasing the temperature and by reducing the pressure. This is the most important step in adsorption phenomenon. Then next, adsorption isotherms. First, Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Second, Langmuir adsorption isotherm. Third, BET equation. We see these equations in first video lecture. So we continue the next. Then next, the types of adsorption isotherm. Type 1, adsorbent with a predominant microporous structure shown by Freundlich and Langmuir adsorption isotherm. For example, adsorption of N2 on carbon at 770 degree Kelvin and ammonia and charcoal at 273 degrees Celsius. Type 2 shows physical adsorption of gases onto non-porous solid sigmoidal in shape shown by BET adsorption isotherm. For example, activated carbon with mixed micro and mesoporosity. Type 3 shows weak adsorbent interaction and is associated with both non-porous and microporous adsorbent, convex in shape. For example, adsorption of water molecules on carbon where primary adsorption site are oxygen based. Type 4, adsorption of gas on porous solids, for example benzene on iron oxide at 500 degrees Celsius. Type 4 shows weak adsorbent interaction, convex in shape, for example water vapors at 100 degrees Celsius on charcoal. Type 6, known as stepwise isotherm, is associated with the formation of complete monolayer before each subsequent multilayer commences. Shows adsorption on extremely homogeneous non-porous surface, for example krypton on carbon black. Then next we see the factors affecting absorption. First, solute concentration. There is an increase in the amount of adsorption with an increase in the concentration of solute at equilibrium until it reaches a limiting value. However, the relative amount of solute removed from solution is greater in dilute solutions. Then second, surface area of the adsorbent. Reduction in the particle size of adsorbent will result in an increase in the surface area and hence an increase in the adsorption. Then third one is factor is temperature. An increase in temperature will decrease the amount of adsorption as adsorption is an exothermic process. Then fourth one is removal of Adsorbed impurities. Adsorb impurities such as gases or moisture on the surface of solid adsorbent decreases the efficiency of these adsorbents. Generally, heating at high temperature, that means at 110 degrees Celsius for 1 hour, removes these impurities to activate the adsorbent, and the efficiency is increased. Then the fifth factor is adsorbent solute interaction. The adsorption of a solute from a dilute solution involves the breaking of bonds between the solute and solvent molecules, as well as adsorbent and solvent molecules, and the formation of bonds between the solute and adsorbent molecules. The strength of these interactions generally depends on the mechanism of interaction, which in turn depends upon the structure of the components. For example, the higher molecular weight solutes are usually more readily adsorbed than low molecular weight solute. This is due to van der Waals forces of attraction, which increases the size of the molecules. The next, pH of the medium. Since pH affects the dissolution of an electrolyte depending upon whether the ionized or unionized species are more strongly adsorbed, the adsorption would increase or decrease with the change in pH. The amphoteric solutes such as proteins are usually best absorbed in the region of their isoelectric point. Then next, the applications of adsorption. First application is it is in decolorizing agent and in desiccant and drying agent, and also in surface area determination of powders. Then also in adsorption chromatography, and also in medicinal uses as an antidote. Then also used in removal of pyrogens from injectable fluids. Then next we see the wetting phenomenon. Wetting refers to the extent of contact between a fluid and a surface when the two are brought in contact with each other. Wetting of a solid by a liquid is best shown by means of the contact angle, which is the angle which is a small droplet of liquid makes when placed on a solid surface. If the droplet spreads completely over the solid, the contact angle formed between the two surfaces is zero, and the liquid is said to wet the solid completely. This type of behavior is seen when water is placed on extremely hydrophilic surfaces. On the other hand, on extremely hydrophobic surfaces such as Teflon, water droplets simply rest on the surface without actually wetting to any significant extent. In such cases, the contact angle formed may be as high as 150 degrees Celsius or even 180 degrees Celsius. Then next, electrical double layer. Let us consider a suspension in which the surface of each solid particle preferentially adsorbs positive charges in contact with an aqueous solution containing positive and negative ions due to dissolved salts. The positive charges on the particles influences the distribution of the ions in the immediate vicinity of the solution surrounding the particle. The negative ions are attracted and held close to the solid surface stern layer, and the positive ions are repelled away from its surface. A layer of liquid molecules is also adsorbed on the solid surface. In addition to these electrical forces, thermal motion within the medium produces an equal distribution of all the ions in solution. As a result of these effects, a diffuse double layer of a solution, that means Goy layer, is created in which the concentration of negative ions gradually decreases and the concentration of positive ions gradually increases up to a certain point in the layer when the number of positive and negative ions become equal. That means electron neutral regions. Thus the particles are surrounded by a tightly bound layer, that means stern layer, consisting of quaternions, that means negative ions, sticking to the surface, that means positively charged surface, and a diffuse double layer, that means Goy layer, extending to the point of electroneutrality. This type of distribution of charges surrounding the particles is called electrical double layer. Then next we see the Nernst and zeta potential. The potential at the solid surface is known as Nernst potential or electrothermodynamic potential and is defined as the difference in potential between the actual surface and the electroneutral region of the solution. The potential at the surface of the solvating layer is called zeta potential or the electrokinetic potential and is defined as the difference in potential between the surface tightly bound layer, that means shear plane, and the electroneutral region of the solution, and the surface of the solvating layer is called the surface of the shear. The next, effects of electrolytes on electrical double layer. If the ionic concentration in a system is increased by adding an electrolytes, the screening effect of the counterions is also increased. As a result of this, the thickness of the double layering decreases and the potential falls off more rapidly with distance. A similar situation arises when the valency of the counterion is increased, keeping the total concentrations of the electrolyte constant. Due to the effect, Stern potential and eta potential, that means zeta potential, decreases. If more and more oppositely charged ions are adsorbed at the surface, it leads not only to neutralization but also the Stern potential also will be reversed. The next, importance of zeta potential. Zeta potential has application in the stability of systems containing dispersed particles, since the potential rather than Nernst potential determines the degree of repulsion between the adjacent similarly charged dispersed particle. The stability of colloids is mainly due to the zeta potential of the dispersed particles and may be increased by adding calculated quantity of electrolytes. For example, sodium citrate is used to increase the zeta potential of the suspended particles in a calamine lotion. The zeta potential acts as an energy barrier for the stability of colloids and suspension. Hence, the part 2 of the surface tension in this point has been end. So this is end of this chapter. So you like this video and also the first part of this video, so please like, share and comment up to my channel, and thank you very much for watching this lecture. Welcome students to our new YouTube channel Pharmatech, the division of